Alright folks, so it's time for a little update on the V8 powered 944 here. We are thinking of taking a step backwards in technology on this car. That may sound weird in 2024, but right now we are running this MSD Atomic LS system as fuel injection. It's a standalone system. It's an older system. It was designed, 15 years ago or whatever, before Holley bought out MSD. And although the car runs great, and we've been running this for 3 years with this setup, one thing that keeps eluding us is right off idle progression. This is a stick shift car, so that's kind of important for drivability. And also, for some reason, this thing will not run right if you set the fuel pressure for 60 psi, which is where it's supposed to be. It runs too rich and can't compensate. And our current cure is to crank it down to 45 to 48 psi with the adjustable fuel pressure regulator. And that cleans it up and makes it run a whole lot better. But this system does not support data logging, so it's hard to tell what's going on. But it feels like at top end it kind of runs out of fuel because it noses over. I mean, if you ever get a chance to run out third gear, it starts to nose over at like 5,500, 6,000 or so. And this should rev right to 6,500 without any trouble. So the real cure for that is to convert to an updated Holley system like the Terminator X or whichever end. That was the road I was heading down. It's just a question of getting together all the money and setting aside time for tuning, because you need computers and you got to examine data logs and all that stuff to make that work. And recently, so I subscribe to the Stay Tuned channel, which is Tony Angelo's channel, and a couple weeks ago they did a C5 Corvette. And they took an LS motor and built it up real quick with some good heads and stuff. And they just stuck a carburetor on it and took it to the dyno and made like 490 horsepower with cam, valve springs and, the simple stupid mods, which is something like what this should do. And they were really happy with it. So I got to thinking, I have a carburetor intake manifold to fit this engine. I have a carburetor. I have an MSD to fire all the ignition coils without a fuel injection system. So theoretically, I actually have everything to try a carburetor on this thing. So that's what I'm thinking about trying. The real problem that I have with the carburetor install, and this is the only real serious problem I have with the carburetor install, is the hood. The carburetor is not going to fit under the stock hood. I have an extra hood that I can cut a hole in, so that might be what we do. I think first thing I'm going to do is pull this system off, intake manifold at all, bolt the Holley manifold on, stick this carburetor on top, and see if the hood will actually close without hitting anything here. I don't think it will. So it's yeah. Looks like we'll be cutting holes in hoods and swapping hoods. And quite frankly, even though the poly system is really the way to go. It's a lot of money. I mean, you're talking, it costs like $1,700 to buy it, and there's probably a few $100 more worth of stuff plus all the time to tune it, and that's a big commitment, and that's one of the reasons I haven't gotten around to doing it. So yeah, let me know what you think. Fuel injection or carburetor? Fuel injection is kind of expensive and requires a lot of tuning to get it right. Carburetors are pretty simple, and I've been tuning them for a few decades now, so maybe that's the way to go. I don't know. We'll see. Let's go for a ride.